Recording in progress.
Thanks everyone for joining us in this Matchday -1 press conference with Rhian Wilkinson and Angharad before Cymru's match against Denmark in the UEFA Women's Nations League. We would like to, we'll start in the room with English questions, then we'll switch to online, and then we'll have Welsh questions for Hassan at the end.
Great to see you both. Rhian, if I could start with you. Everyone's travelled. Is everyone fitting well, first of all?
Absolutely. Fully healthy team. Everyone's here, ready to go. So great position for a coach to be in.
Jess obviously returned to action the weekend after a couple of months out. Where is her fitness at and how much of a part can she play tomorrow?
Yeah, Jess has been, even last camp we sent her home because there's no reason to push her at that time. And I think, again, I give huge credit to Seattle as well, who are in the middle of their season. They've really supported Jess, I think, in making sure that she's as fit and healthy as she possibly can be. And that's what we have with us, is a Jess ready to go.
She could play the full game if needed. I don't suppose you probably want that to happen. You still...
Physically and fitness-wise, yes, Jess is ready to go.
Last two matches before the Euros, is it last chance to experiment or a last chance to fine-tune for that first game?
I don't think there's the same experimentation at this point. There's a few last questions I need to have answered. We know, I don't think we can hide from it, that this is the last two games before a big decision needs to be made in terms of the Euro roster. And we take that seriously in terms of making sure that we've got all the answers we need to make that decision as fully as possible.
And how much have you stressed that to the players, that there is still an opportunity to play their way into your squad?
I don't think that that's a stress that I need to put on them. They are well aware. If anything, I think we just say it's about them delivering the best possible version of themselves always, whether that's at training, whether it's off the pitch, whether it's in games. And I have to say that is almost like that is what I get from Welsh players. And it's how do I allow them to have the space to, if given opportunity, to perform in a way that doesn't have the extra burden of the Euro qual. They know I don't need to add that to them.
The Euros is clearly a big deal. How important is staying in Nations League for you?
I think we've taken it seriously from the start. We continue to. I think it's been a great challenge for us, but equally a really fantastic measuring stick of where we're at. But Wales is where it is in terms of, I think it's always going to be that fight to stay up, and equally we may bounce back down, but it's part of where Wales is in terms of its growth. So we want to stay in League A, but I said from the very beginning that I'm not going to sacrifice my preparation for the Euros to stay in Nations League A, but we will do everything that we can to stay up here.
So have you looked at sort of what you think you're going to need over these two matches, results-wise, to stay up? Is that at the front of your mind, or are you still Euros?
Well, no, of course. Like, Nations League A is not nothing. We're very proud to be here, and these are being great tests for us. And we've always taken it seriously. I think I want to make that very clear. At no point have I sacrificed a game, but I have experimented. I've made sure that the questions that I need to ask in terms of putting together my Euro squad are being asked in preparation for it. So they're not separate. You can do the two at the same time, and I think the team and the staff have done that from the first game on.
Wales have never beaten their side ranked in the top 20 in a competitive game before. What would that mean ahead of the Euros if you could do it in one of these matches?
Well, that's surprising to me. I think if you've seen Nations League A games, Wales is a top nation. We're here not by fluke. We earn the right to be in Nations League A. We have the fewest goals against, tied with Sweden. We've got to be making sure we put our chances away, but equally every single game has been within one goal. And we've tied I think they've dropped to 6, but the number 5 team in the world twice. It's not a fluke. You do not get 4 consistent performances in a row by accident. And I think if things go our way and in front of their net, then I think we have every opportunity in the next 2 games to, I guess, make that history. I'm surprised it hasn't happened already.
So on that theme then, outside of Wales, do you think perceptions of how Wales as a team are viewed by the rest of the world are changing?
I think you'll have to answer that. The outside perspective is their problem. I think for our team, for us as a staff, and for us as a nation, we know who we are. And we're so proud to represent the badge, and these are all opportunities for us to continue to show our growth, but equally who we've been all along. The passion for this, from this Welsh team, whenever they have the opportunity to play, is bar none, nothing I've ever seen before. It's a special group.
But a victory either here tomorrow or in Swansea on Tuesday, what kind of momentum would that give you going towards the Euros?
Any game we play, we're playing to win. Like, I'm not trying to be avoiding this. Any game that we've played, the 4 that have already happened, we're out there to win. And we're disappointed when we don't. So we've had ties that we've been annoyed about against Sweden that we thought we could have won. Italy, where we outpossessed them, we didn't play to our standards. Same with the first game against Denmark. Of course, momentum, that's helpful, but equally, we talk about performances more than results. And if you consistently put in top performances, the wins will come.
Angharad, if I could just ask you a couple. If you could think back to the last Nations League, it was quite tough. How much better as a team do you think you are now compared to them?
Yeah, we're constantly evolving as a group, and I think the growth within this team has been magnificent over the past year, 2 years. We now have a really competitive squad, and Rhian can put anyone out there and they will do their job. And we've seen that in Sweden, where she made changes and they took their opportunities. And I think that's the growth of where we're at as a group right now, that we're ready to compete against the best teams, and not just turn up and put a performance on. But like Rhian said, we were disappointed with the draw against Sweden, so that just shows how far we've advanced.
The gap is definitely closing, isn't it, between yourselves and the top teams. How close do you think you are to a scalp, if you like?
Yeah, I think we just take each game as it comes. As I said, we're growing, we're getting better, we're reviewing games, and we're working on the things that we know that as a group we need to get better at. And I think results will come of that. We've had some top performances in Group A, and every game is a challenging game, and it's a game against an opposition that have been at Euros, World Cups in the past, and we're putting on performances that we can be proud of. But we still have room to be better, and we will be better.
The margins when you play these teams are so fine, and the last match with Denmark is a perfect example of that. Hannah goes through, has a great chance, and within 30 seconds the ball's on your net at the other end.
Yeah, that's football. I think it's fine margins, and that's how close we are. And I think, we speak about we need to put the ball in the net a lot more than what we do. Our defensive record in Group A has been phenomenal, and that's from front to back. It's not just the back line. It's a team effort, and together we've done that, but now together as a group we also need to be better at putting the ball in the goal and scoring more goals, and that's just not on our forwards, that's on us as a group.
And what would it mean to the team if they can stay up? Yeah, the Euros is a big deal, but of course this has a knock-on effect with the World Cup draw. You might get a more fortunate path if you can stay up.
Yeah, our focus is just on the next game, and it's on tomorrow's game, and it's making sure that we can get the performance and the result that we need to stay in Group A. I think if we get a result here tomorrow, it puts us in good stead on Tuesday. And like I say, the focus is on Nations League at the minute and remaining in Group A. This is where we want to be. We want to play against the best teams in the world as often as we can to see how far we've come and how far we still need to go sometimes. So, it's been a journey, and it's not over yet. We've still got 2 games, and we truly believe we can remain in Group A.
Thank you.
Chris?
Yeah, that's just following up on Mark's things there. Does the team need a win to believe you can set the top nations, or does the progress that you make that relevant?
We have belief within the group, and that comes from the staff, that comes from us as a group. We know that if we put on the right game plan and we execute that game plan, we know we can beat any team on our best day. And I think we haven't had our best day yet. And I think we've had good days, and we've had days where, and performances that, like I say, we can be proud of, but there's still margins that we need to improve. And if we want to be one of the best teams, we have to improve their margins. But we are working on it, and we're working hard on and off the field to make sure that we get that right. But yeah, I think it's small margins at this point, and that's an exciting period to be in a Welsh jersey.
Yeah, I guess we're getting a bit greedy, aren't we? We've got these really competitive games against top nations. The growth is obvious, the qualification is there, and you've got us talking about, oh, you need to get a win there.
Isn't that great? I think this is where we want to be, and I loved Taz's answer. Like this is a team now that understands that they are right where they should be, amongst the very best in Europe. And when you're in those top nations, there's infrequently big scores. These are tight margins, and the fact that we're getting opportunities to finish games that we have to go back and review, and that we want to keep getting better. We're not going to celebrate ties against big nations, which some people are like, well, that could have been Wales's best ever. Well, so far, it's going to keep getting better. The team is constantly looking for more now, and that's who we want to be. We want to be striving for better every day, and that's the kind of environment I think we want to be in, but also how we want Wales to feel we are when we go towards these big nations. So yeah, it's an exciting time for us.
The reason I bring it up a little bit is that, do you think there's any point that it's a psychological thing that for when you go to Switzerland, when you need to win a game to progress, or a chance?
Yeah.
Do you think it's a psychological thing to get that win, to get out the win, to break that barrier?
No, it's obviously helpful. When you have a win against a top nation, you just prove to yourself even more that you're in the right place and that you're capable of it. But I don't think you necessarily need it going in. All these games are preparation for us at the Euros. We take them seriously, we handle them properly, we stay in the game, and we work hard to win them. But the team's growth is more important, that mentality. This team's ready to win. This is what these next two games are about, is how do we show up and go for a result. And I don't think there's any reason to hide from that. We're excited by it.
And finally, Rhian, you say just want a few more answers for your final questions around the squad. What kind of questions are there? Are they about what players can offer you in terms of on the pitch? Is it a bit about that mentality, that how they fit into the group? What kind of questions?
There's a few. I think it's sometimes player dependent, sometimes it's partnership dependent, sometimes it's unit dependent, and I think we've got our game plans already built for the three nations in the Euros. We're still watching them and tweaking it, but we're clear, and part of that is now making sure that we have our plan A, B, and C prepared, and that's what this is for. We have a very deep team. I felt when I took the job that I needed to be able to look at the players on the field and the players on the bench, and at any time, any of those players have to be able to step on the field, and that's where we're at. We have an incredibly strong roster, and they all play different roles and different parts, and that needs to be looked at. So yeah, we're clear on what we need to see.
Have you felt any tension in the camp? Because, as you said, you don't need to stress it. That was a big decision coming out.
No.
But can you sense it at all?
No, I don't think so. Look, it's there. We know that. We don't talk about the Euros. This is about this Denmark game, and then it's Italy. That's what we talk about. And it's obvious that that's coming up. So the players are aware of it, but equally they really enjoy spending time together. Like, if you look at the team's pictures, I was just speaking to my mom last night, and we put the training pictures up, and she said, they look like they're having so much fun. They are. They really enjoy playing football together as a team, and it always helps when the sun is out here. But equally, we had some horrendous weather when we were training in Wales, and just get on with it. And that's what it's about. The journey has to be enjoyable as well as the games. Yeah.
We'll switch to online now. So, Sean?
Just two questions for you both, if I may. Rhian, first of all, the goalkeeping situation, obviously, you said before the Sweden game that Liv was your number one, but Saf put in an incredible performance out there in Sweden. Are you still clear that Liv's the number one, or do you want to see this as an opportunity to give both goalkeepers maybe a final opportunity to show what they can do before the Euros?
Goalkeepers are parts of a team, and like I've said, I look at my bench, and any one of those players needs to be able to step on the field and deliver a top performance, and that's my same expectation from the goalkeepers. So we got Saf an important game. She played really, really well, but So has Liv been playing really well. So Liv is our number 1 and Saf is our number 2. And what a brilliant position to be in as a manager to have 2 top keepers. More than that, those are just 1 and 2.
You've both said in terms of needing to be more clinical in these final 2 games. Rhian, for you, is that being clinical, how much of that is coachable, but how much of that is also maybe an inner psychological thing for a player as well?
I don't think we can blame everything on psychology, but I do try. We have a good sports psych here, and I try and blame her for everything. This is the reality. I mean, against teams, top teams, they're going to have opportunities, and we have to have our keepers playing well and equally a bit of luck, right? And on the other side of things, we may not get as many chances on target as opposition. So when we're in the final third, we've got to make it count. And that doesn't mean only fast transitions. It just means how can we work ourselves into the most dangerous positions and minimum hitting the net. So we talk about maybe we have fewer chances. I'm comfortable with that. They've got to count for more. So Sweden, for example, I think they had 17 shots from the 18, 7 hit the target. You know, we had 4 in the 18 and 4 hit the target. That we have to continue to work on those kind of areas of our game. And I think it's really fine to say that, to state it, and to put a little bit of pressure on the players. And when that comes, yes, I think there's a bit of overthinking at times, but they're now getting into that, you know, in training, they're practicing it, they're raising their own standards. And we just talked about Hannah Kane missing against Denmark, and then against Sweden, she gets that opportunity and goes around the keeper and scores it. So if you're going to miss, you better learn from it and bring it forward, which is, I think, what this team's doing.
All right, for you, we just mentioned Hannah there. I mean, towards the end of the season with Leicester, she's been in really good form. Mm-hmm. For you, you've been in a number of camps with her. How is she? Have you noticed a shift in her, perhaps, since the second ACL injury compared to the first? How do you feel like there's been a shift in her sort of mentality?
I think you're asking Haz, because I wasn't coaching her before.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Could you say that again?
Nice.
So,
Sorry.
you know, you've been in a number of camps with Hannah, and towards the end of the season in particular, she's been in really good form for Leicester. You know, you've been in with a pre-ACL injury and after the second one. Have you noticed a shift in her, maybe, especially since coming back after that second injury?
I think Hannah has always been the player that she shows on the field. I think when I remember her first game for Wales, her coming on in the Cardiff City Stadium, and she put in an unbelievable performance in the 10-20 minutes that she got that day. So I think it's always been there. It was unfortunate for her that she picked up her second ACL injury, but she's worked really hard, and being around her, you've seen that every day. She's in the gym for long periods of time. She's warming up before others. She's making sure she's ready, and I think in her performances of late, she's been great for both Leicester and for Wales. So I'm excited to see her progress and to keep progressing now in the near future.
And one final one for me, for you as well, Angharad. In terms of, you know, we talked about the last Nations League in terms of, and you know how much has changed in terms of the coaching and the playing style and the squad depth. But in terms of confidence and belief against these top nations, how much of a shift in attitude has there been in that heading into this one?
Yeah, I think it's been really nice coming back into Group A to play top nations regularly. Has been really good for us as a group. As I mentioned, our growth has been there over the past year or two, and I think we're now competing against the best teams. And you know, we always did our best before, and we put in performances in past games. You know, against Germany and in Llanelli, and there's other games too. But I think now we're putting on 90 minutes performances, and performances where maybe it's a little bit different. The game's different. We're having more possession. We're creating more chances. And it's just a different flow to the game, and I think that's something we can take into the next 2 games and into the Euros. And we have such belief within this group, and I have every confidence every time we step out onto the field that we're going to get a result. And as long as we deliver our game plan, the performance is there and the results will come.
Yes, both, and good luck.
Thank you.
Final few questions from Gara online, and then we'll switch to Welsh then.
Yeah, just one from me. Hello, Rhian. Obviously, a lot of people from our area in Barry in particular, delighted to see Sophia Kelly getting her first call up to the squad. Only just signed her first pro contract with Villa in March. How's she been getting on with training?
She's been brilliant. We had her in for a bit last camp as well, just to sort of integrate her a little bit, and then fantastic performances for our 19s. I think I'd be remiss not to mention we obviously miss Laura. I think she's a big part of this squad. She continues to be, and it was a awful moment losing her to ACL. And then having Soph come in, so we lose a 70-odd cap leader on the team, and it's a hard position to walk into. And I think Soph has done a great job of bringing in a light, bright energy, training hard, and appreciating this experience to be with the seniors. And she's been great because it's not an easy role to play.
Cheers, Rhian. Diolch.
Diolch.
Anyone else online quickly? Nope. Okay, byddwn ni'n symud ymlaen i cwestiwn ar Gymraeg nawr.
Angharad, siwmai.
Siwmai.
Ti'n oce?
Ie, good, diolch.
I ddechrau, jyst y cyfnod yma, dwy gem i aros yn Oton a Cyngor y Cenhedloedd, yr Ewros yn dod fyny. Yn gyffredinol, pa mor gyffroes ydy o i chi fel chwaraewyr?
Ie, mae'n cyffroes iawn i chwarae yn erbyn y tîm sy'n mwy o cryfa yn yr byd ar hyn o bryd. Ni wedi cael perfformiadau dda yn yr grŵp A, ond ni ddim yn mor hapus gyda nhw. Mae dal pethau ni moyn gwella yn y grŵp, a ni yn gweithio'n galed ar y cae ymarfer yn moyn gwella y pethau yna, ond ie, ni'n cyffroes iawn. Ni moyn chwarae yn erbyn tîmoedd fel hyn, a ni moyn aros yn grŵp A fyd mwyn wneud hyn dal yn y dyfodol fyd.
O'n i'n eich bach o waith ymchwil bore yma, cap cyntaf ti'n 2011 a 14 mlynedd yn ôl.
Ie.
Mae yna lot ti'n newid yn does yn ystod y cyfnod yna.
Ie, sut gymaint. Dyma y sefyllfa dwi moyn bod yn pan o'n i wedi ddod mewn i'r gyrfan pan o'n 14 mlynedd yn ôl. O'n i wastad moyn fod yn sefyllfa bod yr Euros bydd ni fel Cymru, fel gwlad, yn gallu bod fyna. Felly i cael hwnna mewn mis i ddod, a hefyd i cael 2 gêm yn erbyn 2 tîmoedd sydd wedi bod yn yr Euros o blaen. Mae fe'n sefyllfa gret i'r tîm i fod yn ar hyn o bryd.
Pa mor braf wedi gweld Jess yn ôl efo chi yn ffit yna eto?
Ie, mae'n braf cael hi nôl. Mae hi wedi cael 1 gêm i Seattle cyn ddod i'r gyrfan yma. Ie, mae hi wedi'n gweithio'n galed yn yr misoedd diwethaf fel mae'n bod yn sefyllfa yma. Felly, ie, gobeithio gallwn ni gweld hi allan yr cae efori, a ie, mae'n edrych yn dda ar hyn o bryd.
A neis i ti gael cwmni teithio nôl i Seattle.
Ie, yn wir.
Yn amlwg. Efo'r Euros yn dod fyny, pa mor anodd ydy hi, dwi'n gwybod beth yw'r gair, ond pa mor anodd ydy hi canolbwyntio ar y 2 gêm yng Nghyngrair y Cenhedloedd dros yr wythnos nesaf?
Ie, dwi'n credu mae Rhian a'r staff wedi wneud yn dda mwyn i ni jyst cael y bwynt ar y 2 gêm. Ni ddim wedi sôn dim byd am yr Euros ar hyn o bryd. Mae 2 gêm yma yn 2 gêm bwysig iawn i ni. Ni moyn aros yn grŵp A, os ni ddim yn cael y perfformiad a'r canlyniad yn yr gêmau nesaf, bydd ni ddim yn y grŵp A. A dyma ble ni moyn bod. Felly, ie, mae rhaid i ni canolbwyntio ar pob gêm ar y tro, a wedyn allan ni canolbwyntio ar y Euros ar ôl y camp yma, Benny.
Da chi wedi dod mor agos i gael y fuddugoliaeth na, ti'n bod yn erbyn un o'r tîmau gorau yn y byd, oedd ti mor agos yn gyn Sweden, gêm fatha. Be sy'n hwnna'n lygu i chi i gael y fuddugoliaeth yna i nos fori neu yn erbyn yr Eidal wrth nesaf?
Ie, bydd yn gwneud sut gymaint i'r grŵp. Dwi'n credu mae'r perfformiad wedi bod yna. Yn yr gêm diwethaf o'n i mor falch o'r grŵp, achos nath Rhian wneud newidiadau fyd i'r tîm, a nath pob un cymryd y sefyllfa a nath nhw cymryd y shirt nhw, a oedd hwnna'n braf iawn i gweld y chwaraewyr fel staff yn ddod mewn, Ella yn ddod mewn fyd, a ti'n chwaraewyr gwahanol nath chwarae mor dda yn erbyn tîm sy'n mor cryf. Felly mae'r sgwad yma'n gryf iawn, a ni yn sefyllfa mor dda ar hyn o bryd i cael canlyniadau yn yr 2 gêm nesaf.
A da chi'n gwybod bod chi ddigon da i giro Denmark, achos ti'n mynd ôl i'r gêm fetha, fi'n gyfartal 1-1, y cyfle yna i Hannah, a wedyn 30 eiliad wedyn, a nhw'n sgorio yr ail gol. Mae pethau'n gallu newid mor sydyn y tydi mewn gêm bel-droed.
yn mor sydyn. Dyma, o'n i mor agos, ond o'n i ddim yn hoff iawn o'r perfformiad y tîm yn yr gêm na. Nath ni ddim, oedd y game plan bach yn gwahanol nath ni wneud ar y noson. Felly, os ni'n gallu creu hwnna a wneud yn siŵr bod yr perfformiad yna tro yma, bydd y canlyniad, dwi'n siŵr, yn un sy'n well i ni fel grŵp. Ond ie, ni wedi gweithio'n galed, os dim llawer o amser gyda ni cyn yr gêm cyntaf, dim ond 2 neu 3 waith ni'n gallu bod ar y cae. Felly mae'n galed cael popeth allan wrth ymarfer, felly mae'n bwysig i ni i mynd trwy'r teledu a popeth yn yr off y pitch yn fwy na on y pitch. Ond ie, ni'n gweithio'n galed a gobeithio all yr perfformiad y canlyniad bod yn nos fory.
A jyst nôl, fel grŵp,